I'm going to read an excerpt from Ghost Hunter. It's the winter, and this is a section in the story when Torak and Ren are camped out in the mountains with the Swan clan. It's night time. They've just had night meal, and Ren's just gone off a little way from camp, as you do, to go to the loo, when suddenly she hears a distant, unearthly howl. What was that? Thought Ren. Not wolf. Not even a wolf. A dog? No dog sounded like that. Thank the spirit it was so far off. Hurriedly she pulled up her leggings. It had been dusk when she'd left, but now she could hardly see the sides of the gully. Night comes fast in the blackthorn moon. She should have remembered that. With a flicker of irritation, she realised that she was going the wrong way. Those huge slabs of rock aslant each other. She hadn't seen them before. Scowling, she retraced her steps, stupid to have gone such a distance from camp. She'd only needed to get downstream and out of sight. The Swan clan had warned her to mark her trail if she went off on her own. Easy to get lost in the mountains, especially for a girl from the forest. She hadn't thought it necessary. Now it looked like she was going to prove them right. She wasn't frightened. It wasn't completely dark, and camp had to be close. It was just that Torak would tease her, and she'd rather not give him the chance. Hurrying out of the gully, she slipped on a patch of black ice and nearly fell. She decided to give him the chance. "Torak!" she called. No reply. "Come on, Torak, this isn't funny. I need to know where you are." No answer. Only the stealthy hiss of wind, the brooding watchfulness of stones. Uneasily, Ren remembered that the Swan clan had pitched camp by the noisy river. Torak wouldn't be able to hear her.
When you first wrote Wolf Bubba, did you always know how the series was going to end?
When I first started for chapter 1, I didn't. But by about chapter 6 of Wolf Brother, I thought, I'm having so much fun with this, I want it to go on. And I don't think I can tell Torak's story in one book. So then I sat down, and it took me about a week to plan, in broad outline, all 6 books. So yes, I did actually know what happens on the last page of Ghost Hunter.
I always found Torak's world so realistic when I read your books. How much research did you do for the series?
Right from the start, I wanted to make it real, and the reader should feel that they're really in the story. So I thought I'd better go to the forest, where, of course, the story takes place, to find out. And on that first trip, I rode 300 miles through the forest and ate all sorts of strange foods and things, and I thought, well, this is really making it real for me. And so after that, then every time Torak was going to do something new, like swimming with killer whales or kayaking or something, I felt I'd better go and do it, which is what I did.
You've obviously travelled a lot, but if you could choose, where would your favourite place in the world be?
Oh, I don't think I've got a favourite place, but the one that always makes me homesick, in a strange kind of way, although it's not my home, when I see it on television and things, is the Arctic, particularly with the ice and the icebergs in the winter and the huskies. I always wanted to go back. I loved it up there.
And this is a question from Isabella, age 11. What advice would you give aspiring writers who hope to become published authors?
That's a really difficult one, because writing is just something you learn as you go along. I think one thing is don't be discouraged. If you read what you've written and you don't think it's very good, that's actually a good sign, because it means you're criticising your own work. And nobody gets it right first time, not even Shakespeare. I mean, I wrote about 30 or 40 drafts of Ghost Hunter before I got it right. So that's the first thing, sort of rewrite, don't be discouraged. And then another thing is just a practical one, carry a notebook with you. And keep one by your bed, and one by the TV, one by the kettle, because you're going to have ideas, perhaps when you're walking to school or something, and if you don't write them down, you'll forget them.
And what inspired you to write about life in ancient times?
You know, how you get inspired is actually very difficult to know. You have to sort of look back. I mean, I didn't really ask myself that question when I wrote Wolf Brother. I just thought I wanted to write a very simple story about a boy, a wolf, a girl, a bear, and a forest. That was the idea. And I thought, well, I can't do it in the present because, you know, we've got cars and things. Maybe I'll set it in the distant past. But I didn't really realise that, in fact, went back to when I was 10. because I'd actually loved the Stone Age when I was a kid, and I wanted to live in it, you know, and I tried, and I got rid of my bed and slept on the floor and all this kind of stuff. But I didn't realise that when I was writing Wolf Brother. It was only when somebody asked me in an interview afterwards. So sometimes inspiration is really mysterious. It just sort of wells up, and you only realise afterwards that it comes back to, you know, when you were a child or something.
Which of the books you've written is your favourite and why?
That's a bit like asking a very fond mother who is her favourite child. You know, it's really difficult. Usually my favourite is the one I've just written, because writing is a very messy and difficult process, and when you're in the middle of a book, I often feel that this is going to be the one that I can't finish. But when I've finished it, I've sorted out all the problems. I'm really proud of it. So usually, if you'd asked me just after I'd finished Wolf Brother, I'd have said, oh, Wolf Brother. If you'd asked me after Outcast, book 4, I'd have said Outcast. So it's always the one I've just finished, because, you know, I'm relieved that I've actually got there and finished it.
How do you develop the characters and ideas for your books?
The characters, I mean, they are strange, because, you know, I was talking about inspiration, and to some extent a character just walks into your head. You know, I just knew that the hero was going to be a boy of 12. Partly it's from myself. There's some of me in Ren. She's very sharp and critical, and I think so am I. Other people. There's a bit of my little sister in Wolf, because he's very curious about everything and very, very emphatic. But then the character starts becoming their own person as you get to know them. The ideas, the sort of themes and things, I have learned, and here's some advice, you know, for aspiring authors, to let them just float up from somewhere in the subconscious. Because if you impose, when you're planning a story, if you say, well, this is going to be a story about loyalty or something like that, or friendship, it doesn't work so well. If you just say, well, this is a story about rescuing Wolf, Soul Eater, then the themes, the ideas will start coming to the fore.
And here's a question from Lydia, age 14. Do you prefer to know what's going to happen next, or being surprised at how things pan out?
That's a really good question, but it's actually both. I mean, as I said to Alex, I do try to plan stories. I like to know roughly where I'm heading. You know, if there's going to be an avalanche at the end, I like to know that so I can plant little clues and things. But how you actually reach that and what the characters do and how they react, you can never plan entirely, because the characters become alive. And so that's where you get the surprises. Giving you an example, in Wolf Brother, in the climax of the story, there's a fight on the edge of a ravine, and suddenly Wolf, his back paws sort of start scrabbling over the edge of the ravine. And I didn't plan that. That just happened while I was writing. And I actually shouted out as I was writing it, Wolf, what on earth are you doing? You're not supposed to fall. You know, and his paws were scrabbling in my imagination. That's great when it happens. It's very exciting for me. And I hope it's exciting for the reader as well.
Okay. After getting a first from Oxford and then becoming a partner in a law firm, what made you decide to stop all of that and become a full-time author?
Well, just taking the biochemistry first, because that was the Oxford bit. The change from biochemistry to law was easy because I was rubbish in the laboratory. I could never work out how much to put in a test tube because I'm not very good at maths. So that was easy. I made a stupid decision to do law. Not that it's a stupid decision for other people, but I didn't really care about it. I just wanted to do something to earn a living. So my heart wasn't really in law tremendously, but it was in writing, because I'd already tried to get published at university. So I was doing law, quite enjoying it, but I really wanted to do something else. And after about 13 years, it just seemed to me, this is a bit stupid. I'm earning a lot of money. I'm not getting time to spend it because I had to work incredibly hard. And there's something else I really want to do. Maybe I'll fail. Maybe I'll never get published. But at least if I give up the law and try, I will find out. I will have tried. So that was the reason.
All right. It says on your website that you're not on the internet and can't receive emails. Why did you decide not to have an email address to be listed on the internet?
That also was quite easy, actually. I mean, I had used email when I was a lawyer. It wasn't as prevalent then, but we did use it. So I knew myself, and partly the reason is myself, my own character. I would go into work, and I'd get lots of emails, and I'd think, well, I'll just sort my emails out first, clear them out, and then I'll start work. 3 hours later, I'd still be drafting careful little, replies. So I know it's my own character. I would feel I would have to reply to emails. And I would get quite a lot of them, I think, because I have a lot of overseas publishers. They're all lovely, but they do like me to answer questionnaires and give interviews and things like that. And I prefer to write. I know the internet's really useful, and a lot of people say, well, why don't you do your research on the internet? I have tried, because my mum's got the internet, and I go around there occasionally to look stuff up. But it hasn't so far helped me that much, because the sort of things I like to find out about, like, you know, what's it like to swim with a killer whale, there's not that much help on the internet. So far, I'm keeping it at a distance, and I hope I never have email.
And you've written quite a few books so far. Do you think you'll ever stop writing, or are you just going to keep on going and going?
It's really difficult to say. I hope I never stop writing, because I can't imagine anything else that I would like more. But of course, you've got to get the ideas. I mean, at the moment, I'm just at the beginning of a new series called Gods and Warriors, and that's going to take me the next 5-6 years, which is lovely. I hope I write until I drop.
Yeah, and a question from Molly, age 10. Did you miss, or still miss, writing about Torak after you finished the series?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I didn't think I did miss it. I mean, I was really pleased to get to the end of Ghost Hunter, and I felt very proud of it. You know, I felt I'd given them a good send-off and everything. And then I went into writing a ghost story, which was completely different, set in the Arctic, but in the, you know, in the 1930s and things. And I thought, fine, I've got rid of, you know, Torak and Wolf. I don't miss them. But about a year later, when I'd finished the ghost story, then I started getting a bit tearful. And it's no coincidence that there's a large husky dog in the ghost story. So, you know, I don't think I could quite tear myself away from Wolf and that world. And in fact, Gods and Warriors, the new series, is not set in the Stone Age, but it's still set in prehistory, just a little bit later. So I haven't really left it completely.